Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of True Story Live. Happy to be here tonight. Tonight's topic is, what condition is your condition in? This one's by our friend Marisa. So it's her write-up for tonight. We're glad to have it. And we're looking forward to it. We're getting right into it. Happy middle April to everyone. And, it's been a good month so far. Lots of changes. Nothing wrong with that. So hope everyone is having a good spring. I mean, in most areas. I shouldn't say that. Probably most of the people that listen maybe are that applies to, but not to Glenn. Doesn't apply to him. All right. So as usual, before we get diving in, let's introduce the panel. My name is Jason. I'm the host of the broadcast. Happy to be here with three wonderful people that take time out of their Sundays to join us. And I'll start with Glenn. Glenn from Australia. Could you take a second to say hello to the peoples?
Yeah, hi everyone. That's it.
Howdy.
And you no doubt saw we had an incident in Sydney. Thankfully, we have gun laws here, so no guns. But the guy are very unfortunate. But there are mental health issues everywhere.
Sure.
And sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So the moral to the story is enjoy every day.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Might be your last.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Very sad. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Let's hear from Jennifer. Jennifer, take a minute to say hello to the peoples, please.
Hello, peoples. Glad to be here. It's been a beautiful weekend. And so sorry to hear about what happened in Sydney. My goodness. That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, sure is. Well, Glenn's right. There's mental health issues everywhere. It helps that there's gun laws,
Yeah.
And people will find a way to cause violence and havoc.
Yeah.
Anyway, and lastly, certainly not least, let's hear from Marisa, the writer of tonight's write-up. Marisa, take a minute to say hello to peoples, please.
Thank you, Jason. And yes, we extend our love, sympathy, prayers, and condolences to Australia and the people who went through that horrible experience at that shopping center. And prayers ongoing for the people that are taking care of the people that are still in medical care at this time. I think isn't there a young baby that is still in critical condition? I mean, last I heard.
Yeah, it was like a 9-month-old.
Right. So all you prayer warriors, please lift those people up in Jesus' name. Thank you so much. All right. Yes, I'm looking forward to having a good conversation tonight. My daughter kept me busy today, so I didn't quite do as much as I wanted to. But, I thought about some things that if we could all just sit down and have a relaxing conversation that is a little bit different than what we normally have been doing. We've been hitting it pretty hard, pretty intense. But, it's not to say we couldn't hit hard and intense tonight. Just kind of going a little different direction, that's all.
Yeah.
Checking in to see what your condition is in. And I have the link for a good cover of that Kenny Rogers classic, one of my favorites. All right, I hope you check it out. It's worth checking out. All right, I will be sharing some links throughout the course of the evening. Usually my friends are okay with that, used to that. If you come in and you would like your link shared, please take a moment and let us know. We'll share it out for you. If you come in and you do not want your link shared, we will respect your wishes and not share that out. That being said, looking forward to jumping in, getting hip deep in a great conversation. I hope I did all right. Looking forward to it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, thank you. There's only a couple people in chat thus far, but Jen, do you want to take a minute to say hello to who you see in the chat?
Absolutely. We've got me. Hello, me.
Hello, you.
Nez and Tony's Coffee House. Hey, Tony.
Yep. Yeah, we'll say hello to anyone new that pops in the chat. Sometimes we have a slow start, but that's okay. We're grateful Tony and everyone else showed up so far today, and it'll be what it is, as it always is. All right. Let's see. Okay, little disclaimer. So last week, if you were here in the chat, saw some behavior that we really don't want to see continue. So I just a general overall statement. Please, as much as you can, be respectful. There's no need to criticize other people or give life advice if they're not asking you for it. And yeah, I shouldn't have to say to people to be respectful. I shouldn't, and I normally don't. So we'll keep a closer eye on that sort of thing. No one's being blocked, or at least at this point, anything like that. Just want to remind everyone, please, that the purpose of True Story Live, I'm sure the four of us may have some purposes that are different, or why we do this broadcast. But I think we all agree that we want to have open discussions. We want TSL to be a place of no judgment, regardless of what your beliefs are, what your political affiliations are, race, creed, color, sex, gender, whatever. It is all an open forum. There's a reason why I still have the same sign. Well, it's a different color, but I have a couple different versions of the same sign since I started TSL. I guess it's been 6 years ago or so by now. Open. And it's because that's what I want to be. And that's what I want this show to be. I want it to be open. And it didn't, I admit that when we started there, I was still going through some changes, and I wasn't as open back then as I am now. But that was still something, even at the start, that I was working towards. I desired to be open. I worked on it. And now I feel like I'm more open than I've ever been. And I'm grateful for that. And I can't make other people be open. I can't make other people be accepting of other people's beliefs and lifestyles and religion and things like that. But I would like to continue to try. And so I just ask to everyone, be respectful of one another, regardless of whether you agree or disagree. And things will just go really smoothly. And I appreciate that. Okay, disclaimer over. Let's hand it over to Marisa, and she's going to read her write-up, and then we'll get started. Take it away, Marisa.
All right. Thank you so much. Hi, Tony. Thank you for coming in. All right. Tonight's write-up is called What Condition is Your Condition In? And I chose a snazzy little acoustic cover of the Kenny Rogers classic from back in the day.
Yeah, you
What
did.
Condition Your Condition Is In. I always loved that song.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a feel-good song, really. I mean, it's a little weird, a little bit well, it's psychedelic, but, I always thought it was fun. All right. It's almost May. Just thought I would take a Sunday evening here on TSL to see what condition is your condition in. Tonight's song link is for a smart, well-done acoustic cover of the Kenny Rogers classic. Think of tonight as a routine conversational checkup between friends and listeners. Also, a great way to just have a wonderful discussion. In fact, if I could serve refreshments and seat us all on the veranda, I certainly would. Let's get right to some questions. What condition would you say your life overall is in right now? Describe any way you feel appropriate. Are you more surprised or disappointed in the life journey as you know it thus far? Describe any way you feel appropriate. Are you more inclined to believe that at this point things will get better or things will get worse? Put that in any context you desire. Only one context per customer, Cripps. Just kidding. Kinda.
All right.
Use as many contexts as you want. I just put that in there for fun.
All right.
All right. Have a little poke in the bear there, a little bit. A little fun tonight.
I can take it. I can take it.
That's all right. Wait till the electrodes come out. All right. Anyway. Bzz, bzz. Have you a bucket list? And if so, have you crossed anything off of it lately? If so, what? And is it possible for you to cross something off of it later this year, maybe? What is the most troublesome things on your mind at present? If comfortable sharing, please do so. Share why that is and what you can do about it. Another question. Whom do you miss the most right now? Answer any way you feel appropriate, and please share why, if possible. Food has a profound effect on us, especially in childhood. What childhood favorite do you wish you could have right now, exactly as it was back in the day? Ooh, I can't wait to get to this one. All right. What is your favorite project that you are working on right now? Please tell us about it. And I forgot to write in there, this could be for entertainment purposes. This could be for your career. This could be for a side hustle. This could be for a hobby. Whatever. If you got some kind of project, you could be planning a trip, whatever. Take that where you want to take it. And one more question. What do you need most right now? Again, answer any way you feel comfortable. Whatever your condition may be in, we are all glad you could join us tonight. Sometimes I enjoy cleansing the discussion palette after so many intense but amazing conversations here on the show. Although the list of questions is rather short, I am very interested in hearing how others answer. As always, looking forward to hearing what the audience has to say, and I am very blessed and thankful and look forward to answering most of these, although some are a little bit daunting for me, but worth exploring all the same. So grab a drink, pull up a comfy chair, and let's just check in on each other. And I end with a quote. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. From Romans chapter 12, verse 15, King James Version of Scripture. There we go.
All right. All right. Let's dive right in. First question, what condition would you say your life overall is in right now? Describe any way you feel appropriate. Anyone have a burning desire to start us off tonight?
I wanted to say that I haven't listened to this song in a really long time.
Yeah.
I'm feeling nostalgic.
Sure.
I want to go listen to it now.
Sure. I think the last time we heard it, I made you watch The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
That song is in there. And
okay.
The way they do it with what's going on at the time, I mean, he's kind of hallucinating, and that's playing in the background, and it's really he gets knocked out. He's not doing drugs or anything, but I guess that doesn't matter. So he's just seeing these images in his head while that song's in the background. And I had heard the song growing up a few times, but I never knew who it was. And then when I saw that I saw it in the theater when it was out. I don't remember what year that came out, but it's been quite a while ago. I heard the song, and as soon as I got out of the movie, I went searching for who it was. And I had not known that it was Kenny Rogers, who later was very popular, well known for singing country music. And I would say pretty mainstream. Very popular artist, but that was one of the first bands he was in. They did that song, and it was one of two songs that were even popular with them. and it's fantastic in my opinion. And the version that Marisa chose is wonderful. So I did post the link in there.
Thank you.
So if you get a chance to listen to it, please do, and think of us, think of Marisa. All right. Okay. So as I said, we'll watch the chat for anyone new that pops in. So do you want to answer the question, Jen, or you want to pass?
Oh, yeah, I'll answer the question.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. My phone's going crazy. I was trying to mute it. Ah. Okay. What condition would you say your life overall is in right now? You know, I think growing pains.
Sure.
I feel like there's a lot of upheaval, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I kind of went numb for 10 plus years of my life. And I'm finally at a point where I'm feeling things that I refuse to let myself feel for a really long time. So it's difficult, but needed. And every time stuff comes up and I let it out, it feels very cleansing, which is good. And feeling lighter with each moment.
Sure.
So that's good. Change is happening right now. I'm looking for a job, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat can understand that when you have a job for a handful of years, you kind of get comfortable and you feel safe. So change is exciting, but it can be scary sometimes too.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know what's around the corner, and that's a little scary, but at the same time, trying to hold on to the adventure side of that and the excitement.
Yeah.
Not knowing what's next yet. Yeah. So that's my condition. But, you know, other than those two things, doing great. Very grateful to be alive, be experiencing this life. So that's where I'm at.
Fantastic.
What about you?
Well, I'm not quite done yet. Let me ask you a question. So you're talking about, you're describing 10 years or more of your life that you were numb. Now I know that that's what you felt like at the time you needed to do in order to endure what you were in. But would you ever choose to go back to that? Not the life, but being numb or hiding from your feelings again, because it's so
no. You know, because the backlog is what I'm dealing with right now, and I would rather deal with the backlog, but also not be numb in the present with life that's happening in the present, you know, so a backlog does not happen again. It's a lot of work. You know, it reminds me of, like, you know, going on a really long trip and you've got like 20 cases of luggage that you haven't unpacked, and you're having to like finally sit down and unpack all the luggage, and you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Well,
I'll unpack as soon as I get back from the trip this time.
Yeah. That's a really good analogy, in my opinion.
Right.
That's really good.
Like, I know it has to get done. I'm doing it, but we won't be doing that again.
I can relate to that. I mean, literally, I can relate to that. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Kind of waking up, like if you wake up to some truth and the truth is really hard to take, and then you think, would I like to go back to the time before I learned this truth? Would my life be easier if I didn't know what I know? And my answer to that is no. I mean, they say ignorance is bliss, so I don't know why they say that. At least
I'm like, is it really?
Is it really? Yeah. Yeah. I have the same question. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate your answer.
Yeah.
Want to say hello to our friend Christ is the Truth. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you taking time off your Sunday to be with us. Thank you. Thank you. And you and Tony's coffee house. Tony got some good news. Approved disability letter. No check yet, but years. Fantastic, Tony. Praise God. I'm glad
that's
that
a big
happened.
Deal.
Good for you. and glad that happened. I always love hearing when someone gets good news. It's a lot better than bad news for sure. Hello also to Bubba News, who just popped in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, they're trickling in. All right, so Marisa, why don't you answer next? What condition would you say your life overall is in right now? Describe any way you feel appropriate.
I would say that it's a lot better than it's been, um, possibly even better than it's been my whole adult life. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm in a place in my walk with the Lord that even though I look at myself every day and go, oh my goodness, and I know why I get the the side eye from Jesus. Oh boy, the things just today that I thought and did, and oh boy. But God is gracious, God is merciful. But I'm happy. I I'm not perfect. I'm not, without problems or struggles, but I feel content in what I have. I don't feel like I need to compete with anybody. I I just need to do better than what I've done personally. I need to improve, for my own reasons and to have a better, closer spiritual walk with the Lord. Um, but other than that, I'm feeling good. My physical health, I think I'm making a lot of positive steps.
Yeah.
I've had a dramatic weight loss over the last several months.
Wonderful.
The last time I was at my primary physician that I had for the last year or so, my checkup was good. And I'm switching to a different physician soon. So hopefully that will go well as well. Spiritually, I feel good. Physically, I feel good. Mentally,
Good.
emotionally, so much better. I went through a lot of periods of depression, through anxiety, through emotional abuse,
Sure.
narcissistic abuse, especially within the last 10 years, I would say, here and there, and not just within my own household that I happen to be in, but my household isn't like that anymore, so that's good. I have a better working relationship with my daughter's father, so that's good. Um, I'm pleased with my children, so that's good. Um, I'm just looking at me, and when you look at yourself, you have introspection, hopefully, and you continue to find things that just need work because we're not perfect.
No.
So, like peeling back an onion, like, okay, I'm getting rid of this, but then I find, oh, well, I didn't even know about that. Yeah, I better get rid of that. I mean, I'm just kind of emotionally cleaning house and
Yeah.
spiritually cleaning house from some things that I just don't need weighing down, my life anymore. Forgiveness comes in, certainly. I don't want to drag a bunch of baggage around. So I just been cleaning house in every way that I can.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing process. So my overall view, that's where I'm at right now. That's what my condition is in.
Okay. Thank you. That was really good, and you went on longer than I probably would. So there you go.
But it felt good. I don't
No,
usually do
it's
that,
no,
and
it's not a
I'm
criticism.
sorry if I went on too long, but I
No,
just felt like sharing. Thank
no,
you.
I'm glad you did.
And
I
as you're, oh, good.
I just referenced that because of your joke in the write-up toward me. That's all. That's the only reason I said anything. I
Bada
want
boom,
you
bada bing.
to go on as long as you want to go on, for sure. What were you going to say, Jen? Before
I was just going to say, Nez, when you were talking about peeling back the onion, I remember there was one night we were doing the art stream on your channel, and I was doing a picture of an onion, and someone in the chat was like, "That looks like lady parts."
Oh no!
I was like, "Oh no!" That's like, I remember that. I was like, "That's not what it is. I swear it's an onion."
The Georgia O'Keeffe alarm went off.
Yeah.
Oh
no, that was funny.
All right. I want to say hello to one of my favorite people in the world, Bobby Meyer, who just popped in the chat.
Bobby!
Hello, Bobby!
Yeah, Bobby, it's so cool that you visit us and that you're Nez's longest, oldest, best friend forever, And you're such a wonderful person, in my opinion, and I love your comments, and I understand why Marisa chose you for a friend, and you chose her. It's just excellent. So thank you for coming. All right, I'll go next. See, what condition would you say your life overall is in? I would say that overall, I'm really in a great place. I feel like my road has been long. I've had times when things were really easy for me earlier on, financially, and always had everything I wanted or needed. And then things changed after I got my degree in 2007, and it just seemed like a long drought financially. Part of that was a recession, and it's not all about finances, but at the time and for years after, that's how I gauged the condition my life was in, because a lot of other things were kind of status quo for me. And then, of course, I lost my mother. I've already talked about that numerous times, but it is part of getting to the point that I'm going to make now. And a lot of good things came out of that, as difficult as it was to lose someone so instrumental and still is instrumental in my life. I still continue to learn from her, from the past, and other people that learned from her are continuing to share things. And even on this broadcast, we talk about her a lot still. I think she would be delighted to know that she had such an impact on people.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And then taking care of grandma, that was a big life change, and it afforded me a lot of time. And during that period of time, I did things and chose to research things and study things that changed my life forever. And so at this point, and then meeting Jen, and then so since 2018, 2019, it has been the best. It's just absolutely the best to love someone and be loved by them. I know not everyone has that, and so I don't want to go on too much about it, but it just is the condition my life is in. My job's going well. As I have mentioned, I recently got a promotion, and this job that I have, it does not define me, but it certainly helps things go better in that area, because that's the area that I've struggled in more than anything else, when I just wasn't used to it. I just had jobs and work and money, and all that went well for a long time until, like I said, 2007. And then it just seemed like the bottom dropped out. And it has for a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people have gone through that. And mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, things continue to get better. And I like what Marisa said. The word I think of is being introspective, taking an inventory, what in your life you want to change. And I love to have people around me that do that, because here's the truth. Not everyone does that. It seems like some people, maybe they're not content where they're at, but they don't have the courage to do house cleaning. They don't have the ability to look at themselves and say, you know what, I don't like this. But when you do, you open yourself up to new experiences and a better perspective in this world, I believe. So that's the condition. I would say overall, life is really good. Are there things that I would like to have? Yeah, and it really is just um, having more financial security and being able to travel. I really, both Jen and I love spending time together. We certainly have been on a couple road trips, went to Michigan together, and been back and forth to visit her parents. And so this is a person that I can be in the car with for hours and hours and just be totally content. So there are places that we would like to go together, and it's not really a thing that I focus on every day, but yeah, there's not much else I would change, honestly. Everything else is growing and changing and morphing into better things. So it's good. All right, there we go.
Good stuff. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. Glenn, last but not least, what condition would you say your life overall is in right now? Describe any way you feel appropriate.
I don't do that well with these sort of questions because my answers are going to be more boring than the usual boring answers I give you.
Oh, no.
That's okay. We're glad you're here, Glenn. I understand.
Okay, I'll say privileged and chilled.
Oh, chill.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
privilege and chill.
cruising along. Cruise the centre
All
line.
right.
If you want more information, you're going to have to ask me the questions.
Yeah, I will. Of course, I
Happily.
will. Well, so when you say
So,
privileged, what do you feel privileged? What area? Every area? Is there? Can you fill that out a little bit more? What's privileged to you?
well, just the fact we've got a roof over our head,
Yeah.
touch wood, decent health. Um, I'm in a relationship with someone I care deeply about.
Yeah.
A relationship with my family's brilliant. All of those sorts of things. Look, I've got no and I'm not I've got no complaints.
Yeah.
So I just feel so well off compared with some. I
Sure.
keep saying that all the time.
Yeah.
It's, and when things come up, well, you deal with it.
Sure.
So
I think
sort
it's
of cruise on that centre line. I don't have the swings and roundabouts.
right.
Just if it's all going fantastic or it's all going lousy, I'm still probably chilling along to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, would you say you've been like that most of your life, or did that change for you, or you
No,
always?
I've not been like that. I've
Sure.
really in probably just before I met Sandra, I'd say I'd come to the chill place, and I've kept it up.
Right.
So 25 years.
Okay. Okay. So
Before
would
then,
you?
it was more erratic.
So when you met my mother, you would say it was more erratic.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Well, we'd both just essentially come out of divorces.
Yeah.
And where I was still, we were still dealing with our own dysfunctional, what would you call it, behaviours.
Yeah.
Trying to adapt. I was in a state of flux, trying to learn about human behaviour, which I knew absolutely nothing. So I went on the crash course.
Yeah, he did.
And yeah, and I was experiencing a whole range of things that were from the most amazing ever to the lows of the lows.
Yeah.
As far as I saw it at that time. Now, whether I would view it like that now, of course, is a different
Right.
story.
Sure.
But when you come from a place where you don't have that much exposure, like some people did, in your life, and you come to a whole new place, it's every second is something new.
Hmm.
And
What would you say was the biggest impact that changed from being erratic to privileged and chill? If there's one, maybe there's
I
not
think a
just one.
change of attitude,
Okay.
where I keep saying it, where I took responsibility for my actions that I used to tend to put on everybody else and say
Oh, sure.
it's their fault.
Sure.
But then, as soon as I did that, that opened up the floodgates to a lot of contentment
Okay.
and to see the world in a different way.
Sure.
Is that the only way your world really is going to get better is if you change it yourself. Don't
Yeah.
rely on other people to change it for you.
Oh gosh, please don't. Yeah. Yeah, because you'd be waiting a long time for a lot of people. If that's what you're waiting on someone else to change, you might be
Well,
waiting a long time.
and don't expect when in life that people don't expect people to change for you.
Oh yeah,
Let them be themselves
sure.
and embrace it or walk off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Glenn. Want to say hello to Fall the White Rabbit, who says you're always chill, Glenn. That's what they think. And Face the Ace also popped in the chat. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being here. All right, moving right along. That was good. Next one. Are you more surprised or more disappointed in the life journey as you know it thus far? Describe any way you feel appropriate. Are you more surprised or more disappointed in the life journey as you know it thus far? I'm happy to go unless anyone else wants to start.
I was going to say surprised. You know, it might be a little bit of both, more surprise and disappointment.
Yeah.
I think going through time and realizing how parts of this world are so evil, that's very disappointing.
Sure.
But there is also so much love and so much beauty in this world, and just the very fact that we get to experience this life here is such a beautiful thing. So it's kind of like a mixed bag, but I would say definitely more surprised than anything. You know, the things that we go through every day, the things that we learn, the things that we discover, the healing that takes place, like so many different things are just surprising in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. I think I would rather be surprised than disappointed if I had a choice. You know, that's good.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I would say my answer would be definitely more surprised than disappointed. I'm not really disappointed. I know Jen and I talked this past weekend about the feeling that comes up sometimes for us that you wish you were further along. Sometimes that happens. I don't spend a lot of time there, but the thought does pop into my head. Certainly, before I met Jen, I didn't really care as much. And I wouldn't say that I regret any of my life choices because my choices have made me who I am, and I wouldn't change that at all. So, how can you go back and change? Well, you can't anyway, but if you could, you had a time machine, would you go back and change some of these life decisions that you made? I would definitely say no. I liked what you said, Jen, about disappointed about the world, and I have that too. And I'm disappointed with where Christianity has been going in general. There are good people within it for sure, lots and lots of good people. But just watching the sermons and YouTube, people that consider themselves teachers, things like that. I just am continually disappointed with some of it. And I don't know. I just would rather see people who claim to be Christians living like Jesus lived and trying to follow the best parts of Scripture, which, in my opinion, are being loving, being kind, being empathetic, all the fruits of the Spirit. And I'm applying that to myself too. I mean, I'm not, like Marisa said a couple times, we're not perfect. Yeah, no one's perfect, and I don't think we can be perfect. But it is important to try. And seems like people are content just to go to church and and tell other people how they should be living. They're not really paying much attention to how they're living. And I think they have it backwards. Like Glenn said, how he got to this place is by taking responsibility for himself and not blaming other people and not waiting for other people to change. That's huge.
Yeah.
Huge overall. Rather than focus on someone else's sin, what what you don't like about their doctrine, what you don't like about their belief system, what level of faith they have. How much further would you get along if you worked on your own and became content in your own life? My perception has been the more I've done that, the less concerned I am about other people as far as what they believe and what they don't believe. I don't have any need to change anyone else or make them believe the same thing I believe. Sure, there's a concern because I want people to get the best out of this life while we have it. I really do, and that's what I'm trying to do. And it's just a way different place. So, biggest surprise is meeting Jen and having that work out, because as I've shared before, after my divorce, I had pretty well given up on finding love and being married, and that has surpassed even my wildest dreams. And I tell her that all the time. So, not trying to embarrass you, Jen, but it is the biggest surprise of my life. It absolutely is, and it has affected everything. And I'm grateful for that every day. All right. Marisa, are you more surprised or more disappointed in the life journey as you know it thus far?
I'm surprised. Yeah, I've got some disappointments, but most of those are regarding me and humanity as a whole. But I'm really surprised. The best things in life really are free quite often. I've really been amazed with the wonderful things I've seen. Yeah, there's bad things that happen. There's bad people out there. Absolutely. But the good things I've seen have been amazing. People
Yeah.
taking the time to care for one another, to check up on each other, to minister one to another. Um, uh, as a whole, what I've seen personally, I'm still encouraged. I still have hope that there's still some good people out there, that it's not everybody going to hell in a handbasket. But yeah, I'm encouraged every time I see somebody uh, do what Jesus told us to do. Someone feeding someone who's hungry, someone who's clothing naked, or visiting someone in prison or in the hospital, someone who's taking the time to care about somebody else. I'm still seeing that. And as long as I see that, I'm still going to feel pretty good. So I've seen a lot of bad things in my life, from myself, from other people. But right now, I'm still encouraged. I'm more surprised than I am disappointed. That may
That's
get
good.
changed at any given moment. Right now, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Sorry, I got something caught in my throat. Great. Thank you, Marisa. I appreciate you sharing that. Oh my gosh.
Gina, sucky candy.
Take a
Yeah,
drink. Take a
I've got
drink.
one here.
All right. Okay,
I
good.
think
I was gonna
that's
bring
what
more.
happened. I took a drink and I think some of it went down wrong. But okay, I'm gonna move on while I recover. Glenn, are you more surprised or more disappointed in the life journey as you know it thus far? I'm gonna mute.
I'll probably, I won't use the word surprise, but I'll use the word disappointed. Okay, I always thought that it was up to 45, disappointed, 45 plus, astounded. But then I came to realise that before, you could say disappointed pre my 45 years of age, but really, that disappointment really was not disappointment at all. It was necessary. it was necessary for me to understand what that felt like in order to know when I went to the next stage what that was going to be like. I think, and I think your mum summed it up extremely well. She said at the time, and this is a long time ago, she said, each of us gave the other something that they'd never had before. And I think that is really spot on. And that to go from to that experience, it changes you. There are like milestones in people's lives, things that you remember, things that are significant. And if you take notice of them, they can have an astounding effect on your future. And that was, to my mind, what happened with myself. So I'm surprised in the sense that what I've often thought, sort of superficially, what did I do to deserve what I got?
Yeah.
It's just almost like how fortunate can I be to have got all this? Really, it's just like that's part of the privilege word. Like when you think so many people get so little, and here am I got so much. I mean, yeah, it's that's a pretty imposing thought to carry with you, and I still carry it.
Indeed.
Any questions?
Not for me. Does anyone have any questions about what Glenn said?
I don't have any questions, but I can definitely relate to that thought of what did I do to deserve this? I guess people on both sides of life, whether they're experiencing something really hard or something really good, can think that same thing. But yeah, I've thought that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
wow.
that's a good point. I mean, the thought itself can go either way. What I do deserve this wonderful life, or what did I do deserve this horrible life? And it all is a matter of perspective, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I've been playing a song a lot, especially on the Sabbath, and it's called "How Can I Say Thank You?" And I've really been meditating on that a lot lately. Glenn just made me think of that. But yeah, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm just thankful to God for the good things that I do have. But yeah, I just wanted to add that as a little side note. Indeed, what did I do? I didn't do a darn thing to deserve anything, except eternal torment and hellfire because I'm a sinful human being. But I've just been really more grateful as I've gotten older, especially to God. So, exactly. How can I say thank you to God who's forgiven me so much and blessed me with so much? I can't. I just got to keep doing it. So, anyway, I'm blabbing. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Des.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Let's see. I was going to.
I like what Bobby said.
Yeah, read it. Go ahead and read it. I was going to read it.
I'm more surprised than disappointed, although most disappointments come as a surprise. I'd like to add that one not need be religious in order to appreciate life.
Yeah. Marisa, I know you've talked about this before, but I don't remember. Can you just briefly share how you and Bobby met? You were younger, weren't you?
Yeah, first, second grade on the playground.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
would take her, ponytails in my hands and pretend to, go yeah and get up and gallop around the playground. So she was my horse, and I.
Oh wow! Saddle up.
Saddle up.
Yeah. Bobby says we rode the same bus, played on the playground together. Awesome. And yeah, you guys have been friends a long time. That's wonderful. All right. Everyone answered that one, I think. Okay. Next one, are you more inclined to believe that at this point things will get better or things will get worse? Put that in any context you desire. Only one context per customer, Cripps. Just kidding. Okay. I'll go first, and I'll just say I am very hopeful, at least for my own life, and I am fully aware that a lot of the reason why I personally feel hopeful is because of the relationship that I have that has transformed everything. Yes, I did a lot of transforming. Jen isn't responsible for me working on my life and trying to become better and all of that. But it's a huge catalyst. And so I always have hope that things will continue to get better. I even have some hope that the world will get better. You know, Christians paint this this idea from Scripture, and I understand why they do it. That things are just going to devolve into horrible times and tribulation and the Antichrist and all that stuff. And I believe that's already happened, which is to some a very controversial topic that I'm not wanting to get into. But I don't expect that things are going to get worse and worse. But then when I see the way the world seems to be going in some ways, I agree with Marisa, there's still a lot of good in the world. I mean, if there weren't good in the world, it would just be a even way more horrible place to live in. But I can't help seeing a lot of the ways things are going. And I'm also fully aware that every generation that has come along, see the young people, and to use Nez's term, they do think we're going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, they really say that. I remember both of my grandparents would see young people and just be concerned about the way the world was going. So that's not a new thing. And so now I'm becoming the old guy, and I see TikTok, for instance, and not all of TikTok. Okay, let's make that point, but a lot of it, and see the things that the quote unquote kids are getting into and what they consider to be influence and funny and creative and things like that. And I realized that my opinion doesn't matter, and they don't give a flying flip what I think, but it's concerning to me. It just is. It's concerning to me. So maybe it's just the way it is. The older generation has a certain worldview, and they grow up a certain way, and they think certain things are more important than others. And then they see young people coming up and watch them make choices which seem reckless and ridiculous to them. And maybe that's just how it is. But I still have a lot of hope, and according to Scripture, hope is a good thing, and hope deferred makes the heart sick. I don't want a sick heart, so I try to continue to focus more on the positive than the negative, not to the point of just being delusional. I'm a realist. I'm not an optimist, and I'm not a pessimist. I consider myself a realist. I want to look at things in a truthful way as much as I can. That's awfully hard to do in this world, but I don't think it's impossible. So I'm more inclined at this point to believe that things will get better, but I haven't always been in that place. That has been over the past 7-8 years that has. Now, I would say when I was younger, I always thought things were going to get better. In my 20s and 30s, life was pretty good for me. I mean, there were things that I did. I was more rebellious and did things that I wouldn't even come close to doing today. But it's all part of my story. And I expected good things to happen. And I will admit, I just got beat up by life quite a bit, as a lot of people do. And for a while, I was thinking that if this is what it is, I don't want any part of it. If this is the way my life's going to be. but that's way different now. So more on the idea that things will get better, that things will continue to get better. What do you say, Jen? Are you more inclined to believe that at this point things will get better or things will get worse?
I think both.
Oh,
I think the people that are, connecting to God and opening up spiritually and growing and changing and being introspective, I think there's an awakening happening. And then it seems like at the same time, parallel to that, there are people that are just falling for a lot of lies and deception and going the opposite direction. Like there's this split happening. So, but maybe the world's always been like that, just seems more prevalent and more in your face with social media, like
yeah,
technology and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to watch. It's like, whoa.
Gosh, it sure is. Yeah, Bobby says, I think today's social media obsession leads younger people to look outward for approval and happiness as opposed to inward, as it should be. Well, yeah, there you go again, Bobby. Great point. Welcome to our friend Believe on Lord Jesus Christ, who popped in the chat. He says, my heart goes out to the young folks. They seem to have a lot of weight on them with today's high rent and cost of living. Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That's a lot of us. Yeah, certainly is the young folks for sure. But some of them have discovered they don't have to be introspective. They don't have to do things the way their parents did things or even their grandparents. All they have to do is know how to use technology and be an influencer. It seems to be what everyone wants. Not, well, I guess not everyone, but a lot of people want to go that route. It's interesting. But more power to them. But yeah, everyone is facing the higher prices and lower wages. And then, when they try to change something like in California, changing the minimum wage in that state to $20 an hour, and businesses, rather than taking the money out of their own pockets and making millions and millions of dollars, and it's not in every case, I'm sure there are small mom and pop places that can't afford to pay $20 an hour, but just listen to them complain. Oh my gosh, this happened a couple of weeks ago, I think, and I was watching a couple, the talking heads having discussions about it and listening to people that own. This one guy, he owned like 8 different McDonald's, and he was just going on and on about how he's going to have to find ways to deal with that, and some people are going all automated. There's McDonald's, for example. Sometimes there's only one person, and they're just making sure all the machines work correctly. Blows my mind, Anyway, Glenn, are you more surprised or more disappointed in the life journey as you know it thus far? Nope, sorry, that's the wrong one. Are you more inclined to believe that at this point things will get better or things will get worse?
The minimum wage in Australia is $23.23.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's if you're not on some kind of contract or other
Salary or something.
workplace agreement. But that's what you're going to get. So, yeah.
Jen, you want to move to Australia?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. For this question, my mindset does not see the world in terms of things getting better or things getting worse. For a start, there's things that I can't change, so therefore they're going to be what they're going to be.
Yeah.
And hopefully the things that I can change are also in many respects going to be as they will be. We're not going to work to change something if we think it's going to make it worse, are we? So I just try to see this as more as something dynamic. You just basically keep chilled and get on with it.
Yeah.
Without trying to brainstorm, is the world going to be better or worse? Because basically, we can change it. We can change what's right in front of us. That's it.
Yeah.
So why am I concerned with whether look? if you unfortunately walk into a shopping centre and someone knifes you to death, or how do you get over that? How do you change that? You can't.
No.
So rather than spend all your time thinking about all this stuff, get on with your life, and
Yeah.
enjoy it, make the best of it, sort of thing. Approach.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Glenn.
Another boring answer. Sorry about that, but
No, that's not boring.
Not boring at all. Thank you for sharing. Bobby says, sorry?
I said chill. Just keep
chill.
chilled.
Yeah. Bobby says things are obviously getting worse between political divisions, wars, climate change, etc. Can't see it getting better anytime soon. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that opinion for sure, and thank you for sharing. Believe says, I think it all started with Bill Clinton. Everything went downhill after 1993. LOL. Well, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, but I also think that presidents are basically puppets of other higher up people. They just do what they're told pretty much. Doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican. But that's just my opinion. And you know what they say about opinions. Yep. Oh,
They're like buttholes.
Believe, yeah, exactly. Believe also says, and what happened to grunge? Bring in the early 90s back. Oh my gosh, yes, please. Oh, 90s were all of
They
the
were
90s.
great.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure everyone does that. Like I'm sure in the 50s when those folks heard the music of the late 60s, early 70s, they were begging for 50s music to come back. And I'm sure it's just been the same way. But I've listened to a lot of music, and I like a lot of oldies. Of course, now the 90s are oldies, believe it or not. But when I say oldies, I mean like 40s and 50s and 60s. Love it. Love a lot of it. It's just nostalgic because I kind of grew up with it. But my generation, the Gen Xers, growing up in the 70s, 80s, when the 90s came along, it was just refreshing because a lot of the music of the beginning of the 80s was pretty good. It was starting to get a little poppy there for a while, and the 90s music scene was to me personally very refreshing, and I still love it to this day. And when I met Jen, I used music and she back and forth, and we liked a lot of the same music, and it's part of what endeared me to her, among many other things. But good stuff. Thank you for your comment, Believe. Appreciate that. Marisa, are you more inclined to believe that at this point things will get better or things will get worse?
As a Bible believing Christian that follows Jesus Christ, I'm here to say I think it's going to be a little more of a bumpy ride. We're going to see things get really crazy. We ain't seen nothing yet. And then it will get better. But then that's also relative if you're coming from the Christian faith point of view. It'll be much better for some people, and it'll be much worse for other people. So, depending on where you're standing spiritually, that one's kind of up in the air. So, personally, I'm going to say that it's going to get worse, and then it's going to get better.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you.
And I didn't like the 90s. I didn't care for the music of the 90s other than Nirvana. Grunge was not my thing. I liked the music in the 80s, but I think that was the last time you actually had any kind of talent to make any music worth listening to. And again, we're not talking about Nirvana. We're not talking about Nirvana. There was a handful of things that I listened to in the 90s, but I'm more of a 70s, 80s child. I just was not into the grunge very much. Bobby made me listen to a lot of music in the 90s. Isn't that right, Bobby? Why don't you tell people what you made me listen to? Anyway, so yeah, I think it's going to get way worse, and then it's going to get better.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, not that it matters, as I said about opinions, and then Jen followed up with everyone has one. Yeah, I think you're totally wrong about 90s music, but that's okay. That's okay. I agree. I see we can find common ground because I agree with you on the 70s and 80s because there's so much good stuff. I mean, I would say good 75% of the songs you ever sing on your broadcast on Nez Lover channel, I love and very nostalgic to me, and think it's great. But there was a lot of talent in the 90s, in my opinion. It just may not have been your cup of tea or penny royalty, as the case may be.
Penny royalty.
Nirvana, get it? Yeah. All right. Everyone answered that one, I think, right?
Yeah. You know, it's weird. Being born in the 80s, I went through this phase, a long phase, where music, maybe most music from the late 60s and 70s, I just thought was really cheesy. But I will say I turned a corner at some point, and there's like this newfound appreciation for that era of music. The stuff that I used to think was cheesy, when I held it up against the music of the late 80s and the 90s, because it's so different, you know?
Sure.
But it's much more poetic and more storytelling in this very different, beautiful way, you know? Like I think about the song Time in a Bottle.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh, that's such a beautiful song.
Yeah, it is.
And it makes me think of what is that scene from one of the X-Men movies?
Yeah.
The guy that can run real fast.
Yeah.
Quicksilver, there you go. That was a really cool scene.
Yeah, it was.
So now it has even more nostalgia to it.
Absolutely.
But it's such a beautiful song.
It is a beautiful, beautiful song, and the way they chose that scene with that song, I think it's the best I've ever seen. I love when movies use music to portray something.
And it fits so well.
It was so well done. Oh my gosh!
Would that be a cool job, to be in charge of picking the songs for shows or movies?
Yeah, you've talked about that a few times.
Yeah, I'm like, there's got to be people that is their job.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's so perfect, and you're like, how did they know?
How did they know? Yeah,
exactly. How did they know? So crazy to me.
No, I agree completely with you. And sometimes it can make or break the movie. I've seen movies that were fairly decent, but the music was so bad, it takes away from it.
Like ruins it. Yeah.
And then other movies aren't super good in and of themselves, but the music saves it, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that other song called? On the Edge of a Feather? Is that the name of that song?
I don't think that's the name of it, but I know this one, Waiting to Fly.
Yes, another one.
Yeah.
Like, gosh, back in the 90s, early 2000s, I would have been like, eh.
Right.
You've actually reawakened a love for that era of music for me, you know, because you grew up with it and you've shared things. I'm like, oh, wow, you know, the appreciation grows.
Sorry, not Waiting to Fly, Expecting to Fly.
Expecting to Fly, that's what it is.
So that was song. Neil Young and Buffalo Springfield. So when Neil Young was in that group, they came up with that. It was a hit song at the time. So and pretty. It has been used in movies and all sorts of stuff over the years. It's one of the most moving songs that I've heard.
Yeah.
And
that era was really like the singer-songwriter era. You know?
Yeah, I would like to have that again, but not Taylor Swift, you know?
Come on now.
Oh my gosh.
Watch out, the Swifties are going to come into the chat.
Oh no.
They can hear us.
Oh, goodness gracious. Don't even get me started. All right. So everyone answered that one. Everybody did, I think. Okay. I don't want to miss anybody. Next one, have you a bucket list? And if so, have you crossed anything off it lately? If so, what? Is it possible for you to cross something off this year? I'm going to use Glenn's saying that this is going to be really boring. This came up a couple of weeks ago, this bucket list that might have been a question on one of the cards per game night.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, and I shared that I do not have a bucket list. I don't. There are some things I'd like to do, but I don't have a physical list. So just to be more interesting, I'll say if the things that I want to do were a bucket list, I haven't crossed anything off this year. But there are some places I would like to travel to. There are some things I had mentioned. I would like to be in one movie with a speaking part of some kind, just to say I did it. Already been an extra, and that was really a lot of fun. I don't want to be a movie star or anything at this point. That ship has pretty much sailed, but it is something I wanted to do at one point in my life. But I just hear so much about what it's like in Hollywood and how they act all fake, and then they just make you take parts that you don't want to take. And I don't want that. But if I had a chance to choose to be in something that was really good, I would love that. So probably not ever going to happen, most likely. But yeah, really, really boring. But I don't have an actual bucket list, so it's not really much more I can add to that one. What about you, Jen? Have you a bucket list? And if so, have you crossed anything off it lately?
I do. I don't have a bucket list. I thought I might be the only one, but I didn't realize that you don't have one either.
No.
I don't know if it's because my bar is really low.
I just have never done it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be sad. I don't mean to bring the mood down or anything, guys. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Just a trigger warning. I think I've spent a really good portion of my life not really believing in myself. And so that kind of connected with having a bucket list. Just not really expecting a whole lot, which is kind of sad. But I will say if there's anything on my bucket list, it's love. To be loved, to love in return. That is just the top tippity top. So, no matter where you go, wherever you travel in life, national parks or other countries, gosh, I just think love is the most important thing. I don't mean to be cheesy, but
that is
so I could mark part of that off of my list because I have you.
Yeah, you are loving. You are loving.
And then love from friends and family. That's just, it's wonderful. And also, like, I don't know. I sometimes I've thought of the bucket list as planning disappointment because I have a pretty big imagination. I could think of some really good things to put on a bucket list, but just my current trajectory financially, I'm like, yeah, no. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen. It might just be more a disappointment list than a bucket list.
Oh,
so wow. Yeah. Sorry, downer, Jen.
That's all right. No, that's not a downer.
Somebody pick it up.
Yeah. Well, Glenn just said, I need a bucket.
I just saw this. I'll put it on my head.
There you go.
So I don't see the places I'll never go. Oh, I'm crying.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the tough thing. I probably don't have a bucket list because I don't have the money to do anything. If I won the lottery or something, or if I got a really, really, I mean, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. As far as it's a decent, well, no, it's not a decent wage, but it's better than what most companies offer. And I have a lot of experience in certain areas, but I think that if I had some disposable income, I think I would make a bucket list. I think it would be more real to me, and I think I would put some stuff on there to cross off. It just, I don't think you're being a downer, Jen. You're being a realist. I mean, it doesn't seem feasible. And we both grew up in Amway, and in Amway, they have this thing that they would tell people to do is go dream building. And now looking back at it, I understand exactly why they did that. In order to do Amway, you have to be really committed to do it, and they want you to be committed. So they tell you, yeah, go look at cars and houses and dream. Dream about what you're going to have when you build this business. And because my parents were in it, we did that all the time. Looked at houses that we'd never buy, and they had some pictures on the refrigerator, Belize, or the beaches, sandy beaches that they would like to go visit some other country, and it just never happened. It just never happened, and it's okay, but I just don't see the value in being money being so tight and wanting and just putting yourself in a position of putting all these things up on your refrigerator like it's some attainable goal. I would rather focus on goals I can achieve. Who knows? Things could change. I could get a really good position where it's more feasible to do things like that. I mean, the truth is, one of my favorite places to go is Michigan, and I want to take Jen there. We have been, but it was just a short trip. And we can't afford to go. And taking the time off work and have to work so we can just barely get by. And yeah, I mean, everyone is in well, not everyone, but most people that I know are in the same boat. They just can't, because of how the prices on everything. It's just difficult in this country to do stuff like that. I mean, there are richer people that are more quote unquote privileged financially, but for me, nope. Let's see. Glenn, you have a bucket, but not a bucket list. That would be my guess.
I gave him a bucket in the chat.
Okay. There.
Yeah. Well, okay. No bucket list per se. Sandra and I did have you might call it a list to go out into the world and see places that would give us emotional type, ethereal. Well, there's another word for this. I can't remember it. Like those experiences that
visceral,
reduce you to zero, make you feel incredibly small. But no bucket nowadays. The only if it was a bucket list, it'd be able to wake up in the morning each day and feel good.
Yeah,
that's a amazing one. But
yeah.
And the only other bucket would be the one that I have to keep in case I get food poisoning. And if I tell Sandra, quick, get me a bucket, she can't. So I've got to keep one handy. She can take her 10 minutes to get a bucket, so I'm not in big trouble.
Yeah.
So, no.
All right.
And when you just talked about goals, I'm so non-goal oriented. I just, if I wake up today and say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. I won't make it a goal. I'll just get on and do it. So
yeah,
you're taking a step out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go to the US and I've got no money, see, I just say, okay, I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but I'm going to do it. So I book it up, and then the universe provides, and it all works out. So you just got to have trust. Piece of cake.
Yeah, sure. Interesting.
Yeah, I know you think it's rubbish, but
no, I don't think it's rubbish.
It actually works. It's amazing. If it's meant to happen, it happens.
Well, I believe that. If something's meant to happen, it will happen. I mean, how can anyone argue with that? I mean,
true.
That's a hard thing to argue against, because if something does happen, you tend to think that it was supposed to happen that way.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in money, or financial, or not many of us are in what you would call wonderful financial places, but
right.
But we could say that forever and do nothing.
Sure.
That's true.
Yeah, we all got to make a call on how we see the world.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Marisa, what's your bucket list?
Well, to phrase it another way, without actually having a piece of paper or a document that's entitled bucket list like the movie, there are things I still want to do while I'm still here. And some of those things are depending on money, absolutely. But most of all, these things are depending on if God's going to allow it to happen. Money's not even a total factor for some things, Because if I'm not convinced that God's making a way for this or that to happen, I ain't going to go. I don't care if I've won 3 lotteries. You know what I mean? There's places I want to go, absolutely. Australia's top of my list for places to go in this mortal body in this lifetime. But other things I'd like to do, I still want to have the gallery and studio space for special needs children.
Sure.
I still would like to see that happen.
Sure.
I was just thinking about that for you.
I don't know how that would happen. Same thing with travel. I would love to go through booking stuff, Glenn, but you need money to book it.
Yeah.
So
book it to
I
Australia.
wouldn't be getting very far if I said I'm going to go make the plan today and tomorrow and the what? I don't even have the money to go get my visa applied for. So what now? I can't quite do that, Glenn. God bless if you can do that. I can't do that right now, today. But that's not to say that can't change. I've learned my lesson about putting God in a box. You never know what God's going to make happen. God makes the impossible possible. So it kind of made me see things a little differently when it came to making a air quotes you can't see bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
Because God tells us if we seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, then everything else is added unto us. And if we ask in accordance with his will, in the name of Jesus, it'll be done. So it's more of a, what do I really want? I want to go to Australia and see you and Billy and go to see Glenn, and I want to go to the Australia Zoo. I'd still like to go to Tibet. I'd still love to see Japan. I would still love to travel around a few other places while I still could. But none of this is just a matter to me of making my mind up to do it. I'm willing to put in my share of the work, absolutely. But how things are going to come together, I have no idea. So I'm just going to give it up to God. So, but yeah, there's lots of things I'd like to do.
Sorry, Nez.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I was just going to say, Nez, isn't that giving it up to God as same as saying, well, the universe will provide? What's the difference?
Because I worship God. God is a spirit. It's a he, not some unknown, amorphous, undescribable blob that you're accrediting pretty much everything to. So I have a relationship with God. So
I'll give you that. Glenn, put that one in your pipe and smoke it.
I call him he. I pray to him every day. So
yeah. Okay. I think I'll shut up now.
All right. And did everyone answer that one? Bucket list? I think we all did. Yep. Next one. What is the most troublesome things on your mind at present? If comfortable sharing, please share why that is and what you can do about it. It's a good question. What's the most troublesome thing on your mind, Jen?
Getting a new job.
Yeah.
I tend to have this weird thing where I don't even know if you'd call it loyalty. It might be like a dysfunctional type of loyalty, but when I get into a job, if it's not a good fit, I, in the past, have felt reluctant to leave, reluctant to put other people in a spot by me leaving. So that's one of my fears, getting a job and getting into it and being like, okay, this is not for me.
Right.
And then just putting in my notice and being like, okay, I need to find something different.
Sure.
I tend to want things to be perfect the first go round, and that's so ridiculous because life just isn't like that. I don't know if it boils down to the perfectionist in me or if it's lazy. I don't know what it is. It's weird. But I keep reminding myself this is an adventure, and if I get into a job and need to leave, it's another thing on a bucket list of sorts of like having a spine
Yeah.
and advocating for myself, being like,
Oh,
okay, this is my life, and I'm not responsible for anybody else. I need to do what's best for me and my family.
yeah.
So that's something that's weighing on my mind.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Everything else is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. As you know, Jen, I understand certainly probably more than, well, I can't say that. I don't know what everyone else has been through, but when it comes to job and finances, they're hand in hand. And I would say that earlier in my life, I had a pretty cavalier attitude, so much so that if I didn't like a job, I would quit because I knew I would get a job the next day. All I would do is fill out an application, go and shake someone's hand, fill it out, and they ask me when I'm going to start. That's how easy it was growing up
Yeah.
until they started the yeah, go to our website and fill out an application, send in your resume. Um, Glenn said that after what he said, you're going to think this is rubbish. I don't. What I think is rubbish is the system that they have now. I don't like it. I've never liked it, and it's never gotten me anywhere. Thus far, I have not gotten a single job after putting in so many resumes the way that they want you to do it, sending it out to the ether somewhere, the nebulous, talk about a nebulous blob. That would be, in my opinion, the place where all the digital resumes go. I understand it being difficult to find a job. I know I've taken care of my grandma for 2.5 years. I had a gap, and I know a lot of employers don't like to see gaps like that. They want to see continuous employment at a corporate situation, but that's not my story. It just isn't. But I have plenty of experience that would be useful, and that is not my opinion. It's a fact, because the working at the job, I didn't want to work a corporate job situation, but as Jen said, you do what's right for you and your family. So you find yourself doing things that you would never consider yourself doing. And I've done a lot of that over the past few years. And they appreciate me being someone that shows up for work and does an excellent job. So it just, yeah, it is frustrating. So it's the same thing for me, Jen. It's the
Yeah.
troublesome thing on my mind. I had a scare this week, so things are so tight, and some months are better than others, depending on if I get a project or not. And sometimes Jen's employer have her do a few more things that bumps up her paycheck. But this past week, my car was smoking on the way home, white smoke coming out of my engine. And I've had so much car trouble. I've been very blessed that this particular vehicle, other than, tires and brakes and things like that, had a couple batteries put in, things like that. But pretty standard stuff. No transmission going out and no throwing a rod through the engine. Those catastrophic things haven't happened, but things are so tight that it just is a reality that if something were to happen I need my van to continue to work. I need it. But if something happened, we don't have the money to fix it. It's just a reality. So it ended up working out all right. What had happened was my oil cap, either I left it or I didn't tighten it down enough and it came off. And I think what happened is I was on the freeway, and I was in the furthermost left lane. I had to get over to the right to make my exit, and this guy was like matching my speed. I hate it when people do that. It's another topic for another time. But I sped up because I was running out of room, and I got up to about 80 and got past him, and then got over to my exit just fine. And when I stopped at the light, all this white smoke was billowing out of the front of the car. So I pulled over and looked, and my gas cap, I already knew it was missing, but I didn't think it would cause that. and some of it got onto the hot engine, I believe. And when I went to go check the oil, the handle for the dipstick broke off in my hand. So it's in the shop now, being worked on to get that problem fixed. But it just I've gotten way better at handling it because I've had plenty of practice dealing with car issues. But still, I get this little pit in the bottom of my stomach, like, oh my gosh, here it is. Here's the thing that's going to send us into a financial tailspin, and I don't like living like that. And if I never experienced life a different way, where I don't have to worry as much, I mean, gosh, and part of my immaturity, if I could go back in time, I would have made better choices about how I spent the money I was making, but I just assumed this is the way life is. I'm always going to be able to get a job. I'm always going to be able to provide for myself, and that's just not the case. It's harder than I thought it was. So when stuff like that happens, it is troublesome. And I'm sure there are people that have more concerns than what I'm talking about. But here's the thing: each person's situation is a big deal to them. So yeah, I've gone through the whole mindset of sometimes when you share stuff like this, people say, well, there are people that live in mud huts, or there are people that live in garbage dumps and they have to scrounge around through garbage for food every day. Yeah, and that's horrible. I honestly feel for those people, but it doesn't mean that what I'm going through isn't difficult for me. I'm grateful. Like Glenn has really helped in this area, the way he looks at life and being grateful for what you have. And over the past several years, I'm way more grateful. But this is a reality to me, and I don't like it. I don't like being in a situation where I've got an older model car and mechanical things are bound to break down. It's just the way of the world. Things do not stay pristine forever. So, but other than that, troublesome things in the world, things going on. I mentioned TikTok. That's troublesome. Political stuff. It's a reality of everyday life um, that there's going to be elections and people freak out. And then I really never considered the eclipse to be a troublesome situation. It wasn't troublesome for me. It's a natural occurring thing that happens. But the way people were freaking out on YouTube, especially Christians, Jesus is coming back, and it's just doom and gloom and fear porn. And it's very troublesome, but mostly it's being troubled by the way people react to natural occurrences and put some kind of doomsday scenario, and that's been going on for a long time. Same thing happened in, what was it, 2018, Jen? I thought it was
I think it
2017.
was 2017.
Yeah, 2017. Same thing happened. I just wasn't as aware of it. Wasn't as much into YouTube at the time, so didn't hear about all the doom and gloom, and people saying, "Oh, it's going to go through several cities named Nineveh," on and on, just affixing some kind of spiritual connotation to natural occurring situations. It just blows my mind. So that was indeed troublesome. So yeah, I went on long enough. Glenn, what's the most troublesome things on your mind at present?
Nothing. To be honest, that's true. Well,
Yeah.
Must be nice.
I used to worry about stuff, but look, there's something. I actually mindseted myself not to do it. There are some things that are concerning if you get a death sentence or something, but in general terms, that's just generally. And no, I don't worry about stuff. I just deal with it.
Yeah.
It's not worth me to use my energy worrying about stuff that I have no control over.
Yeah.
Once again, if Sandra's sick, why worry about it? Deal with it.
Sure.
All those sorts of things. No. I'd rather direct my energy to a different mindset.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything touch wood, and no.
Yeah.
No, I
Well,
don't feel troubled at all.
yeah. Well, just to be clear, it's for me. It's a moment. I don't dwell on it. Like I came home and told Jen what was going on, and we came up with a solution. And I drove to the AutoZone and had them look at it. They determined they can't get the broken dipstick out, and I bought a oil cap, put that on. They kind of looked at everything and said that that's what they thought happened too. That got oil that splashed out because I don't have an oil cap on. And sure enough, it's been fine ever since. So dodged a bullet there. So this is something because I've faced it so much. It's an uncontrollable feeling at first, and it's a troublesome, worrying thing because I've been in the situation so much. And then I go into problem solving, and this is something I learned from my mom. I would be freaking out about something, and she didn't validate very well back then. But she would tell me, okay, when you're done with your pity party, give me a call and we'll talk about solutions. I never liked that. I still to this day think that was not the best way. She was trying to piss me off so it would push me into action, and a lot of times it worked. But she was there on the other side when my quote unquote pity party was done. We would sit down and make a list of ways to get out of the situation that I was in. Mostly it was finances. So I've learned to go into the problem solving, but I wish that I just didn't have that initial bit of dread. I just don't like the way dread feels. And yes, it would be way more horrible to get a death sentence or something like that. Yeah, and I'm fully aware of that. There are other things that could happen to me that would be way more troublesome than this. But I think it's pretty good if my biggest trouble in my own mind is worrying about or dealing with a situation where the car breaks down and I've got to figure something out to be able to get back and forth to work. That's pretty good, actually. I could be a person that worried about a lot more things. So I'm actually making progress, I think. Anyway, Marisa, what's your answer? What's the most troublesome things on your mind at present?
Not knowing how long we've got, none of us know. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing the best I can with the time that I have.
Okay.
In every way that I can do that. And so that calls for a lot of introspection. That calls for a lot of prayer. That calls for a lot of reevaluating and reorganizing and just, personal house cleaning in my own mind, in my own home, in my own life. Really just making the best use of the time that I have, I guess is the best way to put it.
Love that.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We all answered that one. Next one. Whom do you miss the most right now? Answer any way you feel appropriate and please share why if possible. Glenn, why don't you answer this one first? Whom do you miss the most right now?
I miss the wife I had before she had a stroke.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good answer.
I mean, that's an obvious answer.
Sure.
But it's a true one. Because in missing her, it also means that I understand the terrible, in many respects, adversity she's had to go through.
Yeah.
And is still going through. And hasn't lost her will.
Yeah.
She hasn't thrown in the towel at all. Amazing.
Wow.
So,
she's a strong woman.
And you've got no idea. Unbelievable. I couldn't do it. So in saying I miss that, it's obviously the big part of that is me being selfish. Because I wish it was different, but there's no point worrying about it because it can't be.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Pretty
Okay.
straightforward.
Sure. Thanks, Glenn. What do you say, Jen, whom do you miss the most right now?
I would say my mom.
Oh,
I miss my mom. I miss her being close.
okay.
Yeah, that's my short answer.
What do you like best about being close to your mom?
Being able to hang out at the drop of a hat, being able to get together or go over
Sure.
and hang out
Margarita.
and touch base. Yeah,
Margarita
emergency
Tuesdays.
margarita.
Yeah, emergency margarita.
Sitting on her front porch on the swing and just catching up and talking and
Yeah.
hearing about how her Bible studies are going and
Yeah.
the latest episode, the Papa Al and Gigi episode.
It's a show I'd watch.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We get a lot of listeners.
Sure. Sure.
So yeah, I miss the availability. You know, when you're close in proximity physically to family.
Yeah. Excellent.
So that's mine.
Thank you, Jen. There's three people I miss. Just talking about my mom, I miss her quite a bit. I don't think of her every day, but she does pop into my mind a lot. And it's mostly related to something that happens in life or something I say to Jen, and I think, oh, my mom helped me learn this, or she was instrumental in having me read the right book that led me in a certain direction. She's so responsible. I was talking to Jen about this, and I've talked a lot about the negative aspects that I have felt. And part of that, all the stuff I've said is true, and I realize it's my perception, but there are way more good things. It's just the negative things weighed a lot heavier than the good things were light until some time has gone by, and I've had a lot of time to just kind of think about things. And we're reading a book, No Bad Parts. Is that the name of it, Jen?
Yes.
And it's in internal family systems. Did I get that one right?
Yep.
Okay. And he mentioned Robert Bly. And my mom was always giving me books to read, and I see now why she was doing it. She was trying to help. She was concerned, and she knew I was a thinking person, and that I enjoyed reading. And some of the books she gave me, I didn't really learn much from, but a lot of them I did. And I read a book from Robert Bly named Iron John, I believe was the name of it. I'll have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. And the book that we're reading, they mentioned a quote from Robert Bly, and I just immediately thought of my mom. It's just like, because she's the one that suggested I read that book, and that book was part of my journey. So many books and so many things that I learned from her, and sometimes I miss her. And the biggest regret that I have is that she didn't get a chance to meet Jen, because I think that, especially compared to my first wife, who she did not like, I think she would have just been delighted, and they would have sat out on their porch and on the swing and had many conversations. At least that's what I think would have happened. So that's hard. That part is really hard. And then I miss both grandpas, my mom's dad, Daryl, and my dad's dad, Leo, for different reasons. The biggest thing about my grandpa Pulver, my mom's dad, he was one of these people that was always, 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 no matter how old we got, he was always delighted to see me. And you could tell his face would light up. And there's not many people that are like that. Some people say, oh yeah, great to see you. But this was a visceral thing that I felt from him. And it was like that when I was a kid. And it was like that when I was in my late 30s. Anytime I saw him. And I was honestly delighted to see him as well. And my dad's dad, he didn't act delighted to see me at all. He was not anywhere near as expressive as Daryl was. But he was someone that he was a very wise person. So if I had an issue, if I had something I was going through, I could at least pick his brain about it, and he would have an opinion and he would share it with me. and I miss that. I miss having someone to go to like that. Um, so yeah, those three, mom and both grandpas. I miss my grandmas too, but different. Yeah, it's a different thing. Um, Marisa, whom do you miss the most right now?
My mother and my grandparents.
Mm.
I'm not going to expound on it. I'm just going to say they're the ones I miss right now. I don't feel like getting my sinuses all extra clogged and getting weepy.
Yeah.
But, they're the ones who were the most loving and supportive. My mother's parents were the ones who did most of the work raising me.
Yeah.
And it was with them that I lived with most of my child life. And my mother wasn't a non non-player character. She was around, but she was working, she was traveling. She didn't always live in the same house as with me and my grandparents.
Yeah.
So but as far as for the people, blood members of my family that I knew loved me, genuinely loved me.
Mm-hmm.
They were the tip of the top, cream of the crop. My mother, so supportive.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, not so much. The narcissist, the critical, but still was there to do other things that I really appreciated, like being there when I got home from school, like the grandparents teaching me survival skills.
Yeah.
They were all wonderful.
Yeah.
But I got something special from each of them. And I certainly got the most love from each of them.
Sure.
The rest of the family, I really can't say, but I miss them every day.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Nez.
Appreciate that. All right. We have 3 more questions and about 15 minutes, so we should be able to do it. Next one is food has profound effects on us, especially in childhood. What childhood favorite do you wish you could have now? Exactly as it was back in the day. There's several that came to mind for me, but probably the way that my mother made pizza in the oven, homemade pizza. And she used Bisquick for the crust, and it was thick. It was a thick crust. I've grown to like thin crust, but it's just not my favorite. I like the thicker crust, and it was so tasty. It was almost like a little bit like a pizza that the crust was a biscuit, kind of. That's the closest way I know how to describe it, and it is my favorite. And I haven't had it since she passed. She used to make it occasionally, and also. She also would, and this is so silly, but it's part of my childhood. We were poor a lot, and she would make macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, and macaroni and cheese and ground beef. And both of those things, it's just nostalgic for me. And it's easy to make. If I really, really wanted, I could go buy a couple boxes and some butter and milk and ground beef, and I could make it. And think of my mom and get in touch with my childhood. But I've made it several times myself. It's just I know it's not super good for me. But it's a taste that makes me think of her. There are some others, but with the time we have left, I'll stop there so everyone else has a chance. But that's a good question. I like that because it makes me think of a lot of memories from my childhood related to food that are good. And then I'll just mention briefly that Thanksgiving dinner at my grandma and grandpa Cripps's, my dad's parents, my grandma made several different types of pies. She would make pumpkin, mincemeat, some kind of I can't, rhubarb. I couldn't think of it for a second. Rhubarb pie, and because there were so many, it wasn't for just a few people. It was the extended family that would come, and their wives and their kids. So there was a lot of food and a lot of pies. And it was the one time with my parents restricting of my diet that was pretty much even when I didn't have any kind of I wasn't overweight. It's just that they wanted to control my food for whatever reason, probably because they wished that they could control their food, would be my guess. But during holidays, I was allowed to have things that had sugar in it, and pie was one of them. So, all right, that's it for me. Jen, what do you say? Food has profound effects on us, especially in childhood. What childhood favorite do you wish you could have now? Exactly as it was back in the day.
I would say two things my grandmother used to make when we would visit when we were little. Shrimp étouffée or crawfish étouffée,
Yeah.
which is a Cajun dish my grandmother used to make. Oh my gosh, my mom still makes it too, and it's so good. And then the other one is my grandmother's famous beer battered shrimp. She had this amazing recipe for beer battered shrimp, and it was just so good, better than any restaurant I've ever had.
Oh,
so
sure.
yummy. They really know how to cook down there.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
But other than like things that people make, I'd say Lucky Charms also. I have such childhood memories connected to Lucky Charms.
They're magically delicious. I mean, what else? What else can you
Right?
do? Yeah. Frosted Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious.
Magically delicious.
Yep. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
What about you, Glenn?
What about me?
Food has profound effects on us, especially in childhood. What childhood favorite do you wish you could have now, exactly as it was back in the day?
Yeah, okay. I'm not a cake person per se, but my mum used to make sultana cakes. Raisins, you call them, but we call them sultanas, as you know. And she used to do it because she knew that I liked them. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think of my mum, she did basically just killed herself to do stuff for her kids.
Sure.
Amazing, yeah. I didn't see it until much later.
Yeah.
How much my parents gave up for us kids.
Sure.
It's yeah. So that's it. Sultana cake, sultana bar they used to call it. I think it's the shape
Sultana.
of the cake.
I'll have to look that up. Sultana cake. All right. Thanks, Glenn.
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marisa, what about you?
Right now, I want my grandmother's elderberry pie.
Ooh,
She
elderberry.
would make that for my grandfather for his birthday, or molasses cake. He would go back and forth between those. So, yeah, I would like either one with real whipped cream on top.
Sure.
Or a slice of each. You know, I'd have a slice of each right now. That sounds good. And I want more of the Kern summer sausage. They didn't make it, but that's a taste of my childhood.
Sure.
From, back in the day. And that place is still in business. All I have to do is order it.
Yeah.
But, if I could have it right now in front of me, the pie, the cake, the beef summer sausage, right now. Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
I love it. Thank you, Marisa. Appreciate that. All right. What is your favorite project that you're working on right now? Please tell us about it. And then there's one more question. This is a short one for me. I'm not working on any projects. I'm just got a promotion and been in training. And then this past week was the first week that I was not in training anymore and just getting used to the new position. And I am working on, for the other job that I have, I do have a project that I got this weekend. So technically, but I don't think that's what the question means. Jen and I talked today about creativity, and we were talking about creating something. And I have done a lot of projects in my life, written a lot of plays and, productions and things like that, and doing Dr. Sleep and reading. I haven't done that in a long time now. Christmas 2 years ago was the last time I did anything on the channel. But for the year that I worked on that, I did projects all the time. But honestly, just lately, it's been more about trying to fix the issue with the finances and working on that. And I believe it's sad. It's a little sad to me because I would like to be in a position where I could do more things like that. But right now, sad to say, I'm not working on any projects. What about you, Marisa? What's your favorite project that you're working on right now?
Well, I've been commissioned by Johnny Smallpepper to do a design for a pepper board for him that he
Cool.
uses to display the various sundry hot peppers that he likes to eat like
Yeah.
a crazy person. The stupid hot peppers that nobody should eat on his live stream. But in the creative process, as part of the concept art, on the way to that, I stopped and made this project for myself that I'm still working on. It's the I call it the YouTube celebrity squares instead of Hollywood squares.
Mhm.
And Jen has one of the squares. She's
Oh,
in the
yay.
upper left-hand
That's a
corner.
good spot.
She's
Jen for
right
the
up
block.
there.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've almost done painting that, and I've got to put the names of the channels on there, and I want to make it interchangeable. Johnny
Oh,
might
cool.
be helping me with that, and that means getting more tiles to paint on so they can be interchangeable on the actual original piece itself. Because I've got more than just the people that I've got in the painting as it is now that I want to say thank you to and show appreciation for. This is like a piece for me personally,
Sure.
but I want to also have prints made or some kind of swag to give to Jen and everybody who's involved with this by having their visage being used on this.
Yeah. Sure.
Just to say thank you. So, but the original is something for me, part of my collection, my personal little souvenir,
Yeah.
my even YouTube experience. So,
Excellent.
but yeah, I'm having a good time with it, and you
Yeah.
can go see the project just mentioned in progress from a few streams a few weeks back. So
Okay.
go have a look, and you can see
Sure.
Miss Jen in the upper left-hand square.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to ask you the last question too, Marisa, if you don't mind. What do you need most right now?
Jesus, I need Jesus. Help me, Jesus. Help me. You know why? Help me, Jesus. Okay.
Okay.
That's true. That's not BS.
I'm not laughing at just the way you said it was funny. That's all.
Help me, Jesus.
Help
I
me,
need
Jesus.
Jesus right now.
Okay. Thank you. Jen, what about you? The first question, what is your favorite project that you're working on right now?
I'd say me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inner work, and it's been really good. Really, I've done talk therapy for a really long time. This particular model,
Yeah.
modality
Yeah.
at the internal family systems.
Yep.
Gosh, it really, it's just amazing. kind of blown my mind. So the book that we're reading together, it's kind of blown both of our minds. And
Yep.
I've made more progress, I'd say, in the past month than I have in a long time. So it's really, really good. Really, really, really helpful. And fascinating too. It's a really fascinating type of therapy. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Hard work, but good.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And then
Other projects like around the house, not so much. I did mow the lawn today, though.
You sure did. Listen, this girl talk about how amazing my wife is. Our riding lawnmower, we have 0.9 acres, which isn't huge. I mean, I used to mow 5 acres at my mom and dad, helping my mom with their yard. It was a way bigger lot. Glenn has seen that, or at least pictures of it. It was a big piece of property, and various lawns I've mowed. And when I was a kid, we didn't have a ride lawnmower. About the same. No, it's probably maybe a third of an acre that I used to mow my parents' yard when I was a teenager with a push mower. And I mowed yards in the neighborhood to earn money. So it's just not my favorite thing anymore. And we have the riding lawnmower has been broken down since the end of the summer. And my dad's worked on it. He's fixed various things and keep getting stymied by different issues and can't figure out what's going on.
Poor dad.
Yeah, he agreed to do it, and he's such a trooper. And he's like me, doesn't like to be
Bested
by mechanical.
Bested by the mower.
Bested by the mower. So he's still in the process. He's in the question about the mower. But Jen went out there with the electric push mower, which it works and it does a good job. But she went out there and mowed the whole yard, part Saturday and part today, but got it done, nailed it, and went out there with the trimmer. I mean, how much more blessed can a man be to have a woman that's willing to do that sort of thing?
I love mowing the lawn. I just love it.
Well, good. Why. It's your job because
gotta share. You get it next time.
Because I'm starting to think my dad, who is the king of the mechanical things, he may not get this one right. I don't know. We'll see.
He might be permanently stymied.
Yeah, he might just give up. Fat chance, though, probably.
I did make a joke, though. I said, if your dad fixes it, it's going to be the best riding mower ever, and it's going to last way longer than a new one would.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's going to be, with all the parts he's replaced on it, that's kind of what I'm expecting. But and also to see him kind of not know what's going on. I mean, he has a couple theories of things he hasn't fixed yet, but replace the carburetor, replace the some of the blade components, because that's what happened initially. I was riding it, and some piece of the thing that holds the blade on broke loose, and it just wrecked the undercarriage. He showed it to me once he took it off there, and it was just like a crumpled piece of aluminum is what it looked like, and it's metal.
Yeah.
So just unbelievable. And he's worked on it, and he's a busy man. He's got his own work to do and stuff. So he's worked on it over time, and got the blade all fixed and the compartment all fixed and all that. And then tried to start it, and it wouldn't start. And I think there's been a battery replacement. So anyway, so Jen is amazing. Went out there and did that, and just really impressed me. My love language is acts of service, and she does a lot of them, and that was definitely an act of service as far as I'm concerned.
You guys can't see me, but I'm breathing on my knuckles and just polishing it on the front of my shirt.
Polishing of the knuckles you can't see right now. Oh, that's great. Jen, what do you need right now?
Prayers. If you guys in the chat don't mind praying for this whole job search thing, I have an interview this Wednesday, and I'm nervous about it for a couple of backstory reasons, but I'm not going to go into that because it's already 10. But yeah, if you guys could pray for me to find the job that I'm meant to have in this chapter of my life, that would be great.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Glenn, what is your favorite project that you're working on right now?
Don't have one.
Okay. And what do you need right now?
A bucket.
Bill, Jen gave you a bucket and a notepad with a pen and a check
I
mark.
know, but I need a double header bucket.
A double header bucket, okay.
And I'm
Okay, hold
calling
on.
BS. You're working on the project. Go to America. Whatever. Come
Yeah.
on
That's
now.
not a. That's not a project. A
It
project.
is so.
That's
Project Go to
just-
America.
That's just the
Because I
get it,
say so.
book it, think about it a day before, throw something in a suitcase, jump in the car, drive up to my son's 9 hours away. We go to Brisbane, get on a plane, and that's it. Don't worry about it.
It's still a
I've had
project
practice.
you're still working on, even if you're thinking about it.
But I'm not really thinking about it that much. Oh,
You're
actually, I
talking
am
about
thinking
it right now.
I'm thinking about those bloody bullshit American trains that try to rip people off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How to
that's
get
true.
it cheaper.
You're not
Right,
lying.
Are they bad
What in the
news?
world?
All right.
Anyway, but yeah, project. All right, bucket project.
Okay. And what do you need
Oh.
right now?
Lunch.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's almost time. So Jen went. Everyone went, right? Everyone except me.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I said I wasn't. I didn't answer the second one. What do I need right now? Wow. I feel really content in every area. I just want to break with the finances. And I'm working on it. You know, I'm climbing the ladder, and there's a lot of room. That's the good thing about this company is there's a lot of room to grow. They have a lot of positions. I could do sales. I could continue up this ladder, and there's another step that I could take, which would be a substantial upward swing. But I am grateful that I'm getting a lot of experience. And when I get to the point where I've conquered this particular position, maybe it'll be a year, maybe less. I don't know. But I will apply for the next step up, and that will help out a lot, little by little, step by step. But it would really be nice to have a position open up somewhere that pays well. You know, that'd be good. Sound like a broken record, but it's the only thing that I don't feel like I have. I have everything else. I'm healthy, and I'm working on the areas that I could be healthier. I have the best marriage in the world as far as I'm concerned. I don't feel needy and unloved and unsupported and unencouraged. Wonderful. I have the friends that I feel like I need. I mean, I can always make more friends, but I've done that. I have people that I trust and stuff like that, and I'm just really content in most areas. So that would be the only thing I could think of that I need, because I have everything else. So that's my answer to that. Did everyone answer? I think that's it. Yep, Glenn just answered. Okay, excellent. Marisa says, whatever condition your condition may be in, we're glad you could join us tonight. Sometimes I enjoy cleansing the discussion palette after so many intense but amazing conversations here on the show. Although the list of questions is rather short, I'm very interested in hearing how others answer. As always, looking forward to hearing what the audience has to say as well. Very blessed and thankful. Look forward to answering most of these. Some are a bit more daunting for me, but worth exploring all the same. So grab a drink, pull up a comfy chair, and let's just check in on each other. And then scripture verse, rejoice with them that do rejoice and weep with them that weep. Romans 12:15 KJV. Thank you guys for being a part of tonight's broadcast. We'll see you next Sunday. We will be having a broadcast. It is my birthday weekend, but I'm going to have PTO for Monday and Tuesday because it's my birthday. I don't always get to take my birthday off, but with it being the just past the anniversary of my first year, the PTO gets reset, and I'm not going to be wasteful, but yeah, I'm going to take a couple extra days next weekend. So we'll be here. Don't know what topic we're going to do, but we'll talk about that off air. Hope everyone has a good week in the middle of April. I hope you're enjoying spring and don't have too many allergies if you're in this part of the world. But yeah, thanks again for being here, and thank you, Marisa, for the write-up. Appreciate it. Jen, you want to take a second to say goodbye to the peoples? Jen?
I was talking to myself, I guess.
Oh.
Had it on
Sorry.
mute.
Oh.
I said, Nez, I know you thought this write-up was going to be short, but it filled out the time beautifully. And just thank you for taking the time to do it. And I know you had a crazy day today, but we really appreciate it.
Yep.
Good night, peoples. Have a great week. Thank you for the prayers. If you guys have any prayer requests, you can pop them in the chat or email them to us. And we look forward to seeing you guys next Sunday. Thanks, and have a good night.
Thanks, Jen. Glenn, take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples, please.
Sure. Good night.
Jeez.
It's Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'll be listening tomorrow for the Trump trial with interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be fun, won't it?
Sure.
Yeah, I can see you're enthusiastic.
I have zero interest in it. It's going to be whatever it's going to be, and in my opinion, politics don't matter, at least in this country, because they decide who's going to be in there, and it's all pre-scheduled, in my opinion. And I've already been a person that argues politically, this side against the other side, and I have grown to see it as a diversion and something to divide us. Religion too, actually. There's a lot of things that are created to divide people and keep us from being united, and that's one of them. It's interesting. But it's interesting in the way that a television show might be interesting. So we'll see what happens. But I'm sure your desire to watch it is a little bit. Oh, look at that! Marisa's showing her Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, it looks so good, Dad.
What is it?
There you go.
It's the YouTube Squares. Is that
Celebrity Squares. Yeah.
Celebrity Squares.
Yeah.
Is that you, Jen?
Yeah, it sure is. Look at me.
And Cripps
Nez,
is
it
next to
looks
you
so
with
good.
the blonde hair. Oh,
that's my drag phase.
That's it.
That might be my ex-husband.
Oh no! Oh no!
That looks so good, Nez.
Yeah, it's good.
Look at your pretty face.
Excellent.
Is that a raisin in the middle?
You're muted, Nez.
Okay, here we go. Here's Jen.
Oh no, there's a pepper. It's a pepper.
There's Scully. Here's that pepper.
I love the pepper.
There's Super Dave, and Johnny said Super Dave looked like a pimp and a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Here is Wisconsin Greg and Little Wisconsin, and then my friends What's Truth and his wife Tiffany. And then there's me and Billy. And there's Derby Jack and Miss Southern Belle. But I'm going to make some other things to go with that as well.
Awesome.
All right, let's turn my camera off. Yikes.
All right. Thank you. It's your turn. If you could say goodnight to peoples and close us down, if you don't mind.
Certainly will. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun doing the write-up tonight. Sorry it wasn't a little more in-depth, but I think we did all right with it. I enjoyed hearing everybody's answers, and I enjoyed sharing my answers as well. Make sure that you take a moment to share the stream out if you are moved to do so. And if you have any suggestions, or ideas or stories you want to share here, please reach out to any of us and we will reach back to you. Not sure what we're doing next weekend on Sunday, but whatever happens, I'm sure we'll have another great discussion. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day or rest of your evening. Good night and God bless.